Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we're going to head over to Ireland once again, so we're going to have a little look at beer from County Cork. If I'm remembering rightly, this is my first one from the county, of course. So we're going to Mitchelstown today, which is home to 8 Degrees Brewing. So we're having a taste of the Supernova. This one is an 8% double IPA and it should be pretty interesting. This, it's got all Irish malt in it, Irish two-row. The hops in this one I think are Amarillo, Simcoe, Enigma, which is one from Australia that I've never come across, and also Equinox, which is also known as Equinox 2. So really looking forward to this one. And as I've always said, Irish beer for a long time was really difficult to get, but we are starting to get more Northern Irish and beers from the Republic of Ireland as well over here. So long may it continue. The standard over there seems to be pretty good, and it is always cool to come across Irish breweries that I've never heard of before. So I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from 8 Degrees Brewing. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Irish beers that I've reviewed for you, and that's being added to whenever I can. And please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review, especially if you're watching over in Ireland, of course. But it's always great to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about 8 Degrees Brewing then. So as I mentioned to you, this brewery are from County Cork in Ireland, and they were founded back in 2011 by Cam Wallace, who's an Australian, and Scott Bygent, who's a Kiwi, and both of these guys met Irish girls, and that was the reason that they moved to the Republic of Ireland. So the brewery itself is in Mitchelstown at the foot of the Galtee Mountains, meant to be a very scenic area of the country, of course, but the pair had been home brewers for a number of years as well. Scott actually started brewing in Ireland because he really missed the big kind of fruity, juicy, hoppy IPAs that you could get in New Zealand. New Zealand, of course, has a really awesome variety of different hops and things like that. I really love New Zealand IPAs and red ales and things like that. So if you find yourself down there, you can rest assured that in New Zealand and Australia these days as well, you will find some really good beers and some very interesting hop varieties as well. But the pair did a brewing course over at VLB in Berlin, and they said they really enjoyed that. It was very informative, and they enjoyed the extracurricular activities, as they put it, around Berlin as well. But they now have a head brewer as well called Michael, though I do believe both of them actually take part in the brewing process still. One of them I think was an accountant for a period as well before he started the brewery, but over the last few years they've been producing more different beers. I think it's about 50 they've produced to date, and they've been expanding their brewing and fermentation capacity as well. They've got a core range of around 7 beers, and they've got various limited edition ones as well. I believe this is one of the limited edition beers, so they're always producing new things. It's a brewery that you should keep an eye on, and I'm not sure how many other breweries there are in County Cork actually, so there's always new breweries popping up all over the place as well. And like I say, it's always cool to try new things from different breweries in different parts of the world. But yeah, that's all you need to know about the brewery just now. And we'll get on to the tasting of this beer then. So just to tell you a little bit about this one quickly, it's an 8% double IPA. It's hot with Simcoe, Amarillo, Enigma and Equinox, with a malt base of two-row Irish malt. Of course, as I mentioned at the start of the video, the Enigma hop was one that I'd never heard of before. So it's from Australia, and apparently this one gives you a little bit of kind of tropical fruit and red currants and raspberries. So we'll see how we get on with that. As I always say, when you're doing beer videos and things like this, you're always learning, because there's always new malts, there's always new hops, and the yeast, of course, can have a big effect on the beer as well. And you start, after a while, when you reviewed a few beers from a brewery, you do start to pick up the traits of the brewer and things like that. It does explain what the reasoning behind the name is on this one as well. So why the name 8 Degrees Brewing? So Ireland is located at 8 degrees west longitude, which, as it happens, is also the perfect serving temperature for our beer. So yeah, pretty interesting. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork again before we open it up. Can see here it's quite nicely presented. It's kind of it's a little bit sort of groovy, I would say. I think that's a good way to describe the artwork on this one. There you can see the salamander there. I think, is it a salamander? The little lizard for Australia, and you can see the little kiwi as well, and the sort of Celtic symbol in the middle. That's a really nice touch actually. But yeah, beer Starkul. So this one, it's obviously going up to Scandinavia as well, but I haven't seen these beers in Cisjambolagit when I've been up there. I need to keep an eye out for them. But yeah, really nice looking beer, this one, and it's brewed and bottled, yeah, Dublin Road, Mitchelstown. So yeah, nicely presented. We'll get this guy out and get on with the tasting. And there's the bottle cap on this one. I'm just going to take a little bit of care when I'm opening this one up, because I would like to keep the bottle cap. There we are. So yeah, nice wee bit of smoky opening there, and we'll get it out and into the glass, and you can get some really nice hoppy aromas off this just as you open it up. Sugar up the last little bit and get a little bit of a better head on that. So yeah, as you'd expect from this style, it's poured a nice kind of almost, I think it's a bright orange rather than a kind of blood orange colour, this one, but it looks really quite nice. So yeah, as you can see, if I hold this beer up, if I put it in front of the light, there is a bit of transparency to it. It's appearing a little bit darker on this video for some reason. That's the problem when you have the natural light out the back. It's better to film actually at night time in this room. But yeah, there's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there. But you know, it looks kind of exactly as you would expect from an IPA. I think you can see the colour a little bit better there. But yeah, exactly as you'd expect from this style, and there's some nice juicy fruity notes coming off this one just as you move it around. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then before we have a taste. Now that smells really nice. It's the Equinox hop, the Equinox that's coming out of this one for me. But yeah, oh, spilling a little bit, hitting myself in the nose, that happens sometimes of course. But yeah, so you can definitely smell a little bit of the orangey note, that's going to come from the Amarillo, and I'm getting a little bit of that kind of darker thing you would expect from the passion fruit as well. There's a wee bit, you can smell a little bit of melon I think as well, there's definitely a little bit of that kind of melon juiciness, that's what you're going to expect from the Equinox or Equinox, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure what one is correct, I think it was renamed Equinox very recently. But it smells nice. I'm not getting so much in the way of the kind of red currants and raspberries that they were saying you should pick up from the Enigma hop. There's maybe a wee teeny bit of an almost red fruity character to it. There's a little bit of a kind of candied red fruit ester, I think. But mainly it's oranges and passion fruit that are kind of dominating this, and you can get a little bit of the juicier lemon. There's maybe just a wee bit of a sort of lychee or something like that. It's got these kind of juicier tropical fruits, and that's what you always expect from the New Zealand and the Australian hops. They do have that little bit of tropical fruit complexity to them, but definitely there's some kind of sort of floral aromatic character to this one. It's not piney, it's definitely more floral than anything else. There's a little bit of grassiness to it as well. And the malt base in this one's quite interesting. It's quite a grainy, kind of cereally type malt base that you're getting in this one. But yeah, just as I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. That's always half the thing when it comes to craft beer and sake and whiskies and all of this sort of thing. Just enjoy the aroma a little bit before you get stuck in. But this one, it's definitely got that nice kind of dark tropical fruit, some lighter citrus notes, and then you've got some of the lighter tropical notes, and the malt base on this one does come across as really quite interesting. It's not often, of course, that you'll come across a beer that has all Irish malts in it, but let's have a go at this one then. So this one is the Supernova, a double IPA from 8 Degrees Brewing in Mitchelstown, County Cork, over in the Republic of Ireland. Slàinte. That's pretty nice actually. It's not too heavy in terms of IBUs, it's got a good little bit of bitterness to it, but it's also got that nice fruity juicy character in there. It's nicely balanced, and the malt base on this one makes it quite unique as well. So I've always found that with Scottish malt, and I guess with I have tried one or two beers I think that have used Irish malt. And the malts that we tend to get in the Celtic countries, it does tend to have a little bit of a kind of sort of graininess to it. And I do wonder if the main reason for that, I think, is because of the kind of climate, to be honest. When you have a beer or something like that, you want it to be warming, and I believe that's the main reason why the beers are engineered like that. But yeah, that's really quite an interesting one, this. So we'll go through this beer as we always do. So in the middle of your palate, where all the malty flavours are going to come out, you can feel that nice pale malty character just kind of blanket the middle of your palate. You can just feel that light sort of pasting of bread that you get. On top of that though, there's a lot of grainy cereally character in there. There's maybe a little bit of a biscuity sweetness to it as well, right in the middle of the tongue. I'm getting just a little bit of this biscuity note. It's not strong enough to be caramel, it's not sweet enough to be caramel. It is definitely a kind of cereally, sort of grainy, slightly sweet biscuity note that's coming out of this beer. Yeah, but it's nice. I do like how this one comes across for 8% as well. It's very drinkable. It's very, very smooth. which is nice. The carbonation, they've just got the right balance of this one. It's got a little bit of a prickle, but it's also got a little bit of a, it has a little bit of a nice sort of just smooth, just kind of smooth, oily character to it as well. I do like how this one comes across. On the hoppy side of things, in the back corners of my palate, there's a teeny little bit of earthiness, but as you come further forward, this beer, it's got a bit more of a kind of spicy floral aromaticity to it. For me, it's not really pine that's coming out of this one. It does feel a little bit more spicy and floral, and around the front curve of the palate, it's got a nice sort of lighter kind of grassy note coming out of it. It's really quite nicely done, this one. It's not going to blow your head in terms of sweetness or booziness or hoppiness. It's just, this beer is more about how the flavours all blend together, and the fruity character in this one particularly is quite interesting. So yeah, let's have a look at that. As I always say, the fruity hoppy aspects of this beer, you get that little oily bubble behind the very front curve of your tongue, and that's where some of these nice fruity juicy esters come out of the beer. So I'm getting a little bit of the kind of the passion fruit from this one, and they were saying on the bottle that it's grapefruit they expect you to get from this. For me, it's not really grapefruit, it is more of a passion fruit flavour I think that's coming out of this, and that'll be from the Simcoe, of course. There's definitely a little bit of that in here. Yeah, I would stick with that. This kind of strong tropical fruit oils you get on this, it's just not quite dark enough to be grapefruit for me. I think it's more of a nice kind of a nice lighter passion fruit, and as I say, that's the thing you expect from the Simcoe. There's a nice lighter orangey note coming out of this too, and I can pick up a little bit of the melon character, definitely, that you would expect from the Equinox hop, or Equinox, however you want to call it. You can definitely pick up a little bit of that. As the beer goes on and on, you start to get a little bit more complexity to the fruity notes in this one. I'm not really, the Enigma hop, I'm not really picking up any of these kind of raspberry or the raspberry or red currant notes that were supposed to come out of this. There is a teeny little bit of a kind of candied red fruit ester to this. Like, as you progress further and further, the beer gets a little bit more, it's almost a little bit like lychees, and there's a little bit of that candied red fruit thing in there. It reminds me of the little heart-shaped sweets you get in Haribo Star Mix. I always say that, but that's what these candied red fruit esters kind of remind me of a lot. You do get a little bit of that. As I say, there's a wee bit of a kind of melony note to this one as well. But it's mainly, for me, it's the passion fruits and the oranges that are kind of dominating. Then you get a little bit of this kind of complexity that you expect of these big high alpha acid hops. But it's a nice beer, this one. That's the main thing to take away from this, is that it's a really nice beer. I need to remember that, the Enigma hop, and see if I can find like a single hop beer and have a go at that on its own. That's always a good way to learn, of course. Do single hop beers, and then you can learn all about the different aspects of flavour that you can expect from the hops. But yeah, I do like how this one comes across. The little bit of graininess that you get from the malt base in this one, it smooths out, of course, as your mouth adjusts to the beer, but the little bit of graininess that you have in the malt base of this beer kind of suits the sort of spicy floral character that it has. But overall, it's a nicely balanced double IP. It's got a good little bit of hoppy bitterness. I mean, it has everything you'd expect. A little bit of fruity character, some of that kind of slightly spicy floral character. You always expect that, or a little bit of pine. And the malt base on this one's a little bit unique too. Like I said, it's mainly a kind of grainy feel to the malt base, this one, but there's a little bit of biscuity sweetness. But overall, this is quite a nice beer, and it definitely makes me curious about some of their other things. So I think I'll go to the other end of the scale next time and try one of their Imperial Stouts or something like this. That's always a good way to get the full idea of a brewery's scope. You try something from the very dark end of the spectrum, and then you try something like an IPA that's on the more hoppy side. So yeah, overall, this is a pretty nice beer, and I wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. I do want to try a single hop with the Enigma in it though, and just see what exactly you should expect from that hop. But yeah, they've done a nice job of this. In terms of the mouthfeel, I would say it's mid-bodied. The carbonation does have a little bit of a prickle to it. That helps bring out some of the graininess, and also some of the the sort of spicy floral character that I was talking about. It's quite an oily mouthfeel, this one. There's a good little bit of fruity juiciness to this. It has got a little bit of bitterness, but it's not too heavy on the IBUs, and the malt base is interesting too. There's a little bit of dryness from the cereal character, but it has that little bit of sweetness that I was talking about. But overall, 8 Degrees Brewing have done a pretty good job of this, and I do need to make sure I try one of their other beers. So hopefully I can try an Imperial Stout or something, like I said. But if you get the chance to try some of these beers on the basis of this one, I recommend that you do. I think the other ones will be pretty nice as well. So yeah, as I always say, it is cool to try beers from different parts of the world and from new breweries. So I hope you guys have enjoyed my take on this one. If you enjoy a kind of nice floral a nice big sort of floral spicy double IPA. This one is going to suit you down to the ground, and the malt base in this is just a little bit unique, so in that way it is a little bit quirky. So if it sounds like it ticks the boxes for you, I'm sure you will enjoy this one. So yeah, until the next time, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Do check out all my other ones that I have on the channel here. I'll put all the links and stuff in the description below. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below if you've tried it, and do let me know what your favourite beers are from this brewery. Some brewery recommendations from Ireland, both North and the Republic, would be interesting as well, because like I say, we only get a select few of them over here, but it would be great to hear from you guys for what ones I should keep a lookout for. But yeah, make sure you try the Supernova from 8 Degrees Brewing over in Mitchelstown, County Cork in Ireland. A really interesting beer, this one. And when you've got New Zealanders and Australians over there brewing the beer, you are going to get some really interesting hop varieties as well, because they know, you know, Australia and New Zealand I've got some great products that they can put into their beer. So until the next time, it's landed just now, and I will catch you soon. Make sure you check out 8 Degrees Brewing from County Cork over in Ireland. Cheers.